Welcome to Health 2660. Here we don't just talk about health, we tell the stories that heal. Now please listen to the story. John had always been a picture of success. At 46, he held a prestigious position as a senior tech executive, a whirlwind of meetings, deadlines, and responsibilities. He thrived in the fast-paced environment, his days a blur of conference calls and strategic planning. But beneath the veneer of success, a silent storm was brewing, a consequence of years of neglect and unhealthy habits. His diet, dictated by convenience, consisted primarily of fast food, sugary lattes, and processed snacks. Exercise was a forgotten luxury, sacrificed at the altar of productivity. Stress, an ever-present companion, gnawed at him, fueling his reliance on quick fixes and unhealthy coping mechanisms. He knew it wasn't ideal, but he justified it as a necessary sacrifice for his career. Health was a distant concern, a problem for another day. That day arrived sooner than he anticipated. His annual physical, usually a mere formality, delivered a shockwave. The results were alarming, a stark warning that his lifestyle was catching up to him. His doctor, his expression grave, presented the grim reality. "John, your cholesterol is dangerously high." The numbers were damning. Total cholesterol at 280 milligrams per deciliter, LDL soaring at 210 milligrams per deciliter, and triglycerides and VLDL levels significantly elevated. The immediate prescription was statins, a medication meant to lower cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of heart attack. John's world tilted on its axis. The words plaque heart attack and medication for life echoed in his mind, painting a terrifying picture of his future. He felt trapped, a prisoner of his own success. That night, the prescription bottle sat heavy in his hand, a symbol of his failing health. He couldn't shake the feeling that simply popping a pill wasn't the answer. He needed to understand the root cause, the underlying factors that had led him to this precipice. It was then that he remembered Dr. Matthew, an old friend and a practitioner of functional medicine. They hadn't been in touch for years, but John felt an urgent need to seek his guidance. Matthew listened patiently as John recounted his ordeal, the alarming numbers, the statin prescription, and the gnawing sense of unease. When John finished, Matthew's voice was calm and reassuring. "John, I'm going to tell you something your doctor probably didn't explain," he began. "Cholesterol isn't your enemy, at least not in the way most people think." John was taken aback. "But my cholesterol is high. Isn't that inherently dangerous?" Matthew nodded thoughtfully. "It can be, but the total cholesterol number is just one piece of the puzzle. The real question is, what kind of LDL do you have?" He proceeded to explain the nuances of LDL cholesterol, a concept that was entirely new to John. LDL wasn't a monolithic entity. It existed in different forms, each with varying degrees of risk. Large, fluffy LDL particles were relatively harmless, essential for various bodily functions. Small, dense oxidized LDL particles, on the other hand, were the true culprits, the ones that could penetrate artery walls, trigger inflammation, and contribute to the formation of dangerous plaque. Your doctor saw a high LDL number and prescribed statins without delving deeper, Matthew explained. He didn't investigate why your LDL is elevated or determine the specific type of LDL particles you have. John felt a surge of relief mingled with frustration. He had been on the verge of committing to a lifetime of medication based on incomplete information. "So what causes the small oxidized LDL?" he asked, eager to understand the root of the problem. Matthew didn't hesitate. Chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance are the primary drivers. These conditions are often fueled by a diet high in sugar and processed carbohydrates, poor sleep, chronic stress, and a sedentary lifestyle. A wave of realization washed over John. His lifestyle, the very foundation of his success, was also the architect of his health crisis. The long work hours, the fast food lunches, the sugary coffees, the relentless stress, they all contributed to a toxic internal environment that promoted inflammation, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance. It wasn't just a cholesterol problem, it was a lifestyle problem, a consequence of years of neglect and unhealthy choices. That night, John made a life-altering decision. He resolved to abandon the quick fixes and address the root cause of his health issues. He would no longer mask the symptoms with medication. He would transform his lifestyle, heal his body from within, and reclaim his health. The next morning, John embarked on a mission to purge his kitchen of unhealthy temptations. He opened his pantry and refrigerator, his resolve hardening with each passing moment. Sugary cereals, sodas, packaged snacks, white bread, and ice cream, all banished from his domain. In their place, he stocked his kitchen with an array of wholesome, nutrient-rich foods, fresh vegetables, leafy greens, vibrant berries, lean proteins like eggs and grass-fed beef, and healthy fats from wild-caught salmon, olive oil, and avocados. He replaced his sugary coffee with black coffee, a small but significant step in reducing his sugar intake. He adopted a low-carbohydrate diet emphasizing clean proteins, healthy fats, and plenty of fiber. He learned that lowering insulin levels was paramount in restoring his metabolic health. It wasn't just about cutting back on carbs. It was about reducing them significantly enough to lower insulin levels and reverse insulin resistance. In addition to dietary changes, John recognized the need to incorporate movement into his daily routine. But he shied away from the intense, grueling workouts that had left him exhausted in the past. Instead, he opted for gentle, sustainable activities that would nourish his body and mind. He started walking every morning, a 30-minute stroll through his neighborhood, allowing him to connect with nature and clear his head. He also incorporated light yoga and stretching to release tension and improve his flexibility. As he embraced these new habits, John noticed a profound shift in his well-being. His stress levels began to subside, replaced by a sense of calm and tranquility. His sleep improved, allowing him to wake up feeling refreshed and energized. The brain fog that had plagued him for years began to dissipate, replaced by mental clarity and focus. Matthew also recommended comprehensive blood tests that went beyond standard cholesterol panels. They ordered an NMR lipoprofile, a specialized test that measured the size and number of John's LDL particles, providing a more detailed assessment of his cardiovascular risk. The initial results were sobering, confirming that most of John's LDL particles were small and dense, the dangerous kind that contributed to plaque formation. But Matthew reassured him, emphasizing that these results provided a baseline for measuring his progress. "This is exactly why you're making these changes," Matthew said. "We're targeting the root cause and transforming your internal environment." 6 months went by. As John stayed focused on his new routine, slowly building healthier habits one day at a time. John adhered to his new lifestyle, embracing healthy eating, regular exercise, and stress management techniques. He found joy in preparing wholesome meals, exploring new recipes, and savoring the flavors of real food. He discovered the therapeutic benefits of walking in nature, the restorative power of yoga, and the importance of prioritizing sleep. He cultivated mindfulness, practicing meditation and deep breathing exercises to manage stress and cultivate inner peace. He returned to Matthew for follow-up testing, eager to assess the impact of his lifestyle changes. The results were nothing short of remarkable, a testament to the body's innate capacity for healing. While his total cholesterol remained relatively stable at around 275 milligrams per deciliter, and his LDL was still elevated, the composition of his LDL particles had undergone a dramatic transformation. His small, dense LDL particles had plummeted by 85%, indicating a significant reduction in his cardiovascular risk. His triglyceride levels had decreased, and his VLDL was now within a healthy range. Inflammatory markers had fallen, reflecting a decrease in systemic inflammation. Liver enzymes had normalized, indicating improved liver function. And his insulin resistance was reversing, signaling a restoration of metabolic health. To further assess his cardiovascular health, John underwent a coronary calcium scan, a non-invasive imaging test that directly measures the amount of plaque in the arteries. The result was a resounding victory zero. No plaque, no buildup, no immediate heart disease risk. John felt an immense weight lift off his chest, replaced by a profound sense of gratitude and relief. He had averted a potential health crisis by taking control of his life and embracing a holistic approach to wellness. A year later, John stood before the mirror, a changed man. He was leaner, stronger, calmer, and sharper. The brain fog that had clouded his mind had vanished, replaced by mental clarity and focus. His energy levels had soared, allowing him to tackle his work and personal life with renewed vigor. His anxiety about his health had evaporated, not because he had lowered a number on a lab test, but because he had addressed the underlying causes of his health issues and built a solid foundation for long-term well-being. One evening, John sat down with his wife and shared his reflections on his health journey. "For so long, I thought my cholesterol number was the enemy," he said. "But it was never about that number. The real danger was how I was living the choices I was making every day." John now dedicates his time to sharing his story with others, inspiring them to take control of their health and embrace lifestyle changes. He wants people to understand that high cholesterol doesn't automatically mean they're broken, destined for a lifetime of medication. Sometimes it's a sign that their body is trying to compensate for something deeper, a signal that their lifestyle is out of balance. And sometimes the real healing begins not with a prescription, but with a decision to change, to prioritize health, and to embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. He emphasizes that health is not merely the absence of disease. It's a state of optimal well-being, encompassing physical, mental, and emotional harmony. It's about nourishing the body with wholesome foods, moving the body with intention, managing stress with mindfulness, and cultivating meaningful connections with others. It's a lifelong journey, not a destination, a continuous process of learning, growing, and evolving. And it's a journey that's worth taking, for the rewards are immeasurable: vitality, resilience, and a profound sense of purpose. John's transformation serves as a powerful reminder that we have the power to shape our health destiny. We are not victims of our genes or our circumstances. We are active participants in our own well-being. By making conscious choices, embracing healthy habits, and seeking knowledge and guidance, we can unlock our body's innate healing potential and create a life filled with vitality, joy, and purpose. The key is to listen to our bodies, to understand the signals they send, and to respond with compassion and wisdom. It's about prioritizing prevention over treatment, addressing the root cause rather than masking the symptoms, and embracing a holistic approach that integrates mind, body, and spirit. It's about recognizing that health is not a commodity to be bought or a privilege to be earned. It's a fundamental right, a precious gift that we must cherish and protect. And it's a gift that's available to everyone regardless of age, background, or circumstance. All it takes is a decision to change, a commitment to health, and the courage to embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Health 2660. Thanks you for listening. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, be kind to yourself.